Hi there, I'm Jessie and welcome again to my countdown to the holidays, where I'm going to share some of my favourite clips from the That's My Story channel. Today's clips won't disappoint. Who knew that finding out you had a sibling you didn't know about could be such an amazing thing, or the worst experience you've ever had? So first, let's watch Linda's story. Linda switched lives with her twin sister Rosa to get revenge on Rosa's mean stepmother. In this clip, we'll see the unbelievable moment that Linda discovered she had a twin for the first time. This Cinderella story has to be seen to be believed, so I hope you enjoy it.
My parents decided to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary with a big party. I hate wearing dresses. My mom knows this, so she said, "This celebration is really important to us. Please, no t-shirt and jeans. Get yourself a dress and be the prettiest girl at the party." I couldn't say no, but I'd never bought myself an evening dress before. I didn't even know where to shop for one. After school, I Googled it and found a store. It was pretty far from where we lived, but of course I was going to go to make my mom happy. When I walked into the store, I went up to the first salesperson I saw. "Where are your evening dresses?" I asked. When she looked at me, we both froze. Looking at her face was like looking in the mirror. The resemblance was too much. The first thing I could say was, "Are you adopted?" "Yes," she said. "Were you born on March 13th? I asked. When she nodded, I hugged her tight without even thinking. I had a sister now, a twin sister. I left the store with a dress she chose for me. I waited for her to get off work at a nearby cafe. When she arrived, she began to cry, saying, "It's a miracle. I still can't believe this." I was practically looking at myself in the mirror. Just like me, she was always sniffling as she cried. When Rosa calmed down, I asked her, "Since you're working on a school day, did you quit school?" She did. Her mom said, "You won't be going to college anyway. Start working as soon as you can, so you can contribute," she said. According to my sister, her family didn't really need the money. Her mother did this out of spite because she'd been treating Rosa like this for a long time. I got so mad as I listened to my sister's story. At the time her parents adopted Rosa, they hadn't been able to conceive. But 8 years later, her mother got pregnant and had a boy. After her son was born, she started pushing Rosa away and treating her badly. What's worse, her father tolerated this. He never took issue with what his wife did. By the way, I keep saying her mother, but Rosa always refers to her as my stepmother. This is to be expected because from what I gather, my twin sister has been living like Cinderella all these years. She had to quit high school during her freshman year. She had been working 6 days a week, and at night she had to do all the housework. When she said in passing, "Some nights I'm so tired I can't sleep," I found myself tearing up. I was getting more shocked as she was telling her story. Her mother gave her room to her son. They put her bed in the basement. Rosa had been sleeping there for years. They wouldn't even let her eat with them at the table. She had to eat by herself in the basement. I couldn't stay quiet any longer. "That's enough. First, I'll teach this woman a lesson, and then I'm going to get you out of that house," I said. Unfortunately, after being abused for years, my sister had lost all her courage. Unlike her, I'm someone who stands up for myself no matter what and doesn't walk away from a fight. Now I would fight for my sister. I said to Rosa, "Tell me everything about that woman."
Thanks so much for some of your comments already on this one. Just like me, Eugene couldn't believe that a random shopping trip could result in you finding out you had a twin. And Emily commented on how caring Linda was for being prepared to switch lives to help out her sister. If you'd like to see the full video, to find out what happened next, you can find the link in the description. So, are you ready for the next fantastic story? And don't just take my word for it. Claire Pendleton commented that this story made her heart warm. Thanks so much for watching, Claire. This clip is from a story where Bailey lost £160 after being humiliated about her weight, not helped by her twin sister Summer.
We're more like apples and oranges, totally different people. One thing we're really different in is appetite. You know how they say that some people live to eat and others eat to live? I belong to the first group because I live to eat. I think about what to have for dinner while I'm having lunch, while Summer only eats what she needs to live. In fact, she often forgets to eat. she gets full really quickly, so she's always the first to leave the table. As you can guess, I've been overweight since we were babies, and Summer has been skinny. In primary school, nobody believed we were twins. "Impossible, you can't be twins. You must be 3 or 4 years older," they'd say. I'd like that they thought I was older. I'd piss Summer off saying, "I grew up, but you're still a little girl." When we started middle school, I was really heavy for a kid that age. Summer weighed 75 pounds while I weighed 165. After several negative experiences, I learned that being overweight wasn't something to be proud of. Being humiliated for my appearance had become part of my daily routine. The boys in class came up with new insults every day. When I got home, I'd go straight to the bathroom and cry. The worst was when Summer joined in and started making fun of me too. During every meal, she'd say something to upset me. "Watch out, don't eat the plate. I can't believe that you can still fit into a chair. Eat a bit less so that kids in Africa can get some food." She became crueler towards me as time passed. She was ashamed of me and made it known at every opportunity. My life became even harder without my sister's support. I didn't have any friends. I was already an introvert, and this made me totally asocial. You must have heard that twins have a really strong bond. I felt this bond deeply, and I loved my sister so much. Sadly, Summer felt differently. I used to think that she loved me too. I thought, she's ashamed of me because I'm obese. She rejects me because she doesn't want to be associated with me. Maybe that was true in the past, but she'd changed. It was obvious from everything she did that she hated me. The girl who was constantly humiliated, who nobody wanted to be friends with, was her twin.
So what did you think of Bailey's story? Have you ever had a sibling that picked on you about something? Thanks so much for sharing your experiences with me. Aurora went through a similar situation, but she's now in a healthy weight, and glad Bailey is too. And a big shout out to little Ami, who reminded us how important it is to love yourself. If you want to find out how Bailey lost her weight and if she ever made up with Summer, you can watch the whole video on our channel. Ready for another awesome clip? This one really has to be seen to be believed, as it's from an incredible story about triplets that were separated at birth and eventually found out about each other. Can you imagine if you suddenly had not one, but 2 other siblings that you never knew existed?
At the time, the triplets were enjoying being reunited after so many years. They moved in together. Every day they were seeing how much they resembled each other. For example, they found out that they liked the same type of clothes, same food, same colors, and even the same brands. The funniest part was they were completing each other's sentences. So even though they had grown up in 3 different households, they were still very similar. The brothers kept appearing on TV shows as guests. That made them even more famous. People on the street were telling them, "Why don't you guys make a movie? We want to see you on the big screen." The brothers figured out that it was time to monetize their newfound fame and opened a huge restaurant they named Triplets. People filled the restaurant to see the famous triplets. The business was really good. They made over $1 million at the end of their first year. Meanwhile, a journalist had uncovered something big. A child psychiatrist had launched a secret study years earlier. For this project, he had made an agreement with a private adoption agency. The agency would separate twins and give them to families of different socioeconomic status. Because the goal of the study was to determine how different they would grow up to be if they were raised in different families. The worst part was, they were hiding from the adopting family the fact that their baby had a twin. You see what happened, right? The mother of the triplets brought her babies to this adoption agency. The agency gave the triplets to 3 families of different status as part of this secret study. To understand this further, let's take a look at Bobby, Eddie, and David's families. Bobby's dad was a doctor, and his mom was a lawyer. They were a well-educated couple. They earned a lot of money. They lived in an expensive neighborhood. Eddie's father was a school teacher. They weren't rich or poor. It was a middle-class family. They led a lifestyle befitting their income. And finally, David's family was working class. They were immigrants. They were the least educated among the parents. They ran a small grocery store and had a hard time making ends meet. Thus, we can clearly see that one of the triplets was given to a family with a higher level of income and education, another one to a middle-class family, and the third one was given to a lower-income family with a lower level of education. It was also discovered that the people conducting this secret study paid regular visits to the children. They ran intelligence and personality tests that lasted for hours. They observed them in their daily lives and took notes. For example, to see if there were any differences in their hand-eye coordination, they filmed the children playing frisbee. These home visits lasted until the kids were about 9 to 10 years old. Then suddenly they stopped. So why weren't the families suspicious of these visits? These are routine tests that we conduct on every adopted child. We need to keep track of these kids as an agency, they were told. Which was not true. As we know now, the tests were being done for the secret study. The journalist who uncovered this horrible truth also found the psychiatrist behind the study. He learned that the study continued for about 10 years and then was stopped. The results hadn't been shared with the public since it was assumed it would elicit a negative reaction. We know that all of the records related to this case remain sealed in the Yale University archives. The journalist also traced the children in the study and visited those he could find. Of course, they were all grown up. He saw that the twins separated at birth were struggling with chronic depression at later stages of their lives, including the triplets. They were having really serious mental health issues. Tragically, one of them, Eddie, died when he was only 33 years old.
What did you make of that? And this really does happen, as Sylvia also knew of separated twins who were reunited through Facebook. What would you do if you found out you had a twin? Akshat said that if they ever discovered someone looked exactly like them, they would go crazy. I can't wait to share my last clip with you, which is about how Sylvia discovered she was switched at birth and wasn't actually living with her biological family. Jamerica loved this story so much that they've watched it 4 times. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoy it as much as Jamerica did.
It was not an accident that Jenny and I got switched. Yes, you heard right. It was on purpose. It was a nurse who did this to us. The prosecutor found it really weird that there was a mix-up, even though there were only 2 girls born that day. So they questioned the 2 nurses at the delivery room and got to the bottom of it. One of the nurses had dated my biological father years earlier. One night, she was drunk and cheated on my dad. When he found out, he left her. But she was still in love with him. She tried to patch things up, but he wasn't interested. She was surprised to see my dad at the hospital years later, so she made up this evil revenge plan to get back at him. Well, you know the rest of the story. She switched my dad's biological child, which is me, with another baby, which is Jenny. She stood trial after she confessed to this terrible thing and was given 11 years in prison. She changed the lives of 6 people, and that's if we only count the parents and the kids.
Imagine finding out that your parents aren't really your parents. What would you have done? Do comment, as I love reading them. Sonali and Kaylee both thought that the story was cute and were glad that Jenny found out who her real family were. And a shout out to Tamara, who found Sylvia's story heartwarming. We're glad you're enjoying it, Tamara. If you wanted to watch the whole video to find out how Sylvia discovered she was switched at birth, you can find the link in the description, along with all of the full stories we spoke about in today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for some more crazy clips and amazing stories. If you love these, then please subscribe to the That's My Story YouTube channel. See you soon!